Hey, it's John Terry, the president of the International Martial Arts Council of America, and welcome to IMAC Radio. This is our opportunity to interview some of the world's greatest martial artists. And if you've not had an opportunity to tune in and join us on one of our podcasts, I hope in the future that you'll take the opportunity to do so, because you're going to get an opportunity to hear from some amazing men and women that are making a very unique difference in the martial arts community. On this episode of IMAC Radio, I have with me Grandmaster Michael Hornsby. Mr. Hornsby, tell me about your school and where you're located.
Okay, well, I am the owner and head instructor of True Force Taekwondo Martial Arts School here in San Antonio, Texas. And I get the True Force from, I live and die by the slogan, positive thinking is a true force.
Fantastic. And how long have you been training in the martial arts?
Oh, I've been training since age 5. I am 53 of this year.
And your style?
My base style is Taekwondo. I do have a background in Tang Soo Do and some formalized training in Filipino and Jiu-Jitsu.
Excellent. Well, tell me about what you do in your class. Do you have classes once a week? How often do you have classes? And tell me what a traditional, typical class looks like for you and your students.
Okay, well, they have the opportunity to attend class 4 times a week. And then also I do 2 morning classes, which are situational awareness classes for mainly for women. Men can join it, but mainly for the women. But a typical class is we are doing from our traditional Jungs, meaning forms, to our techniques, self-defense, so on and so forth, to weapons, and then our exercises. And then we do a lot of tournaments, so we get into our tournament training a lot. Just like we just came off of a tournament this past weekend and had the opportunity to compete in Austin, Texas. And you know what? Our young kids did a fantastic job.
Fantastic. So when you're doing your classes on a weekly basis, do you follow the same pattern every class? Do you focus maybe one class of the week on forms, another class on self-defense, another class on sparring? I'd like to see how maybe you structure your classes during the week.
Actually, we don't stay on a traditional schedule. It does change from week to week. Sometimes we're concentrating more. You do have the individual days that we're concentrating, let's say, more on forms than others. Then sometimes we may work an entire week on a form, meaning not only are we doing the form, but having them understand the bunkai of the form and the application of the form. And we may concentrate just typically on the whole week on that, or it may be a whole week strictly on fighting strategies, on sparring. Then there's times that we have days where we're not doing anything physical. I'm teaching strictly on leadership, on self-control, on how to be a better citizen, and that'll be the entire class.
Very good. So your typical class, does it start with an exercise format, then maybe mat chat conversation, and then training at the middle? What does your typical class look like in terms of structure?
Yes. We will always open up with exercise. You want the body warm. You want the joints warm, so there's no injuries. You don't want injuries happening. And then with the body warm, blood flowing, the mind can work. The mind can open up to what they're about to receive.
Very good. Now, do you focus on, in addition to the martial arts aspects of what you teach, do you focus on any fitness, conditioning, health, wellness, any of that? Are those any of the added benefits that you're bringing to your students?
Oh, yes. We discuss about exercise a lot, mainly from a health standpoint, especially trying to get the kids, I teach kids and adults, but the kids mainly to make it a habit forming to exercise and be healthy and eat right, because not only does that help with their techniques in class on what they're learning, but with a healthy body comes a healthy mind. In a healthy mind, they're able to make good decisions, not only in class, but at home and then out in the world, like at school.
Fantastic. Now, I know several schools that I talk with and I have an opportunity to visit as I'm traveling not only here in the United States but abroad. Many of them are now starting not only just to focus on the traditional martial arts aspect, the tournament aspect, the self-defense and reality martial arts aspect, but they're also returning to some of the core foundations of the martial arts. And I know you talked about teaching discipline and leadership and things of that nature. Do you do anything in your school, especially with your younger students, to recognize and encourage things like academic achievement, reading, and engaging in things that are going to stretch the mind as well as the body?
Oh, yes, yes. One, I do. We do hand out the academic achievement patch, and everybody's always trying to get that, especially now we're in school again, coming off the summertime. So one of the things that I'm constantly stressing is academics and the importance of that, and that coming forth first before the martial arts, and understanding, hey, school comes first before this. Martial arts training is not a given. If we are doing what we're supposed to do in school, making good grades, being good students and good behaving students, then you're rewarded by being able to continue to attend classes. Because if you're not hitting a certain grade point or certain grades, I actually talk to the parents and don't allow you to come to class. You can come and sit on the sidelines, but you can't participate in class if your grades are not at a certain level.
Well, Michael, I applaud you for that and helping encourage and push kids forward academically as well as physically. I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to dig into a little bit of your lineage and history. If you're looking back over the many instructors that you've trained with over your many, many years in the martial arts, if you could pick out one instructor that's really made a difference in your life and has really been influential to you, who would that be?
That would be Grandmaster Rodney Kaufman. He
And the
showed me not only what he showed me the most, what has stood out with me and has been dear to my heart, is he has shown me how to be a man in the martial arts, how to be a leader as a man, how to be a husband when I was married, how to be a father to my kids. And so he taught me many things beyond. We taught me many things beyond just the kicking and punching. And that was the leadership aspect that, hey, now that you're up to this level or certain level in the black belt level, this is what you're needing. This is what you're missing. And it took me beyond just all the physical and how to be a true person, a good citizen in the world. And that has just been just valuable to me.
Very good. How did you get started in the martial arts? What was the precipitating event, or how did you end up doing your first martial arts class?
Well, let me take you back to I was 5 years old. As we know, everybody went to go see Bruce Lee. Went to go see a Bruce Lee movie. My dad took me to a Bruce Lee movie. There was a theater right down at the corner of our neighborhood. Went to go see that. Came out kicking and punching, and my dad was like, "Oh, okay." Well, just so happens about a week later, there was a martial arts demonstration that was being conducted in one of the local parks. So he took me to that, and then he saw how I reacted to that, and so he took me up to a local school that was again on the corner near the end of the subdivision. And he thought, okay, put Michael in. He's going to play with it a little bit. He's going to put it down. And I never stopped.
And you've been at this almost 50 years now, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
So thinking back to your very first lesson, what was your one takeaway from your very first lesson?
Can you say that again?
What was your very first lesson? What was your takeaway? If you could go back and relive that moment again, what sticks out from that very first lesson?
What sticks out from that very first lesson was you don't come onto the floor without permission. You don't wear your shoes on the mat or on the floor. because you taint or you dirty your knowledge. And even as a 5-year-old, that stayed with me. You raise your hand when you speak, when you have a question, you don't just blurt it out. And that has always stayed with me from that was my very first walk through the door lesson. And on the very first week, I just sat and watched. I was not allowed to participate. You raise your hand, you ask permission to enter onto the mat. You don't just walk onto the floor with your shoes. And that stays with me still to today. And I still, in my school, still have my students do the same.
That's fantastic. You know, those of us that have been in the martial arts for a while, we always remember something unique from our very first class that we've done. And it always sticks with us. We always remember, just like in anything we've ever done, you always remember your first instructor, and there's always something unique that sticks out that you carry forward. So thank you for sharing that. Michael, I want to flip over here, and I got a couple of pictures you sent me, and I wanted to talk about this for just a minute and share some pictures of some of your students. You know, as we look at the students you've got on the screen, tell me a little bit about the folks that we see here.
Okay, well, yes, you see on the screen there. Let me start with the, you'll see the father with the two sons and daughter. The son is 5 years old. The daughter is he just turned 6, and the daughter is 7. And he came to me with the thing of, hey, I didn't have a father figure to help my kids, and I like what you are doing here. I want my kids to have what you're giving, that my father couldn't give to me. And and said, and that they were really shy, and now you wouldn't even know it. Also, they were afraid to participate in tournaments. They participated in their first tournament, and now they're already registered for the next tournament. Also in the picture, you will see a brother and sister in the red. What's unique about them is I had them originally when both of them were 7 and 8, and then I had them until they were 12. And then I moved away to England, and obviously closed the school. Well, then I came back, reopened now, been open about 2 years now at this location, and they both came back to me, and they are training with me in their 20s again now, and that's what you see there, the brother and sister team next to me, the two adults. Their niece is the one in the yellow and the black who's just tested for her advanced yellow stripe, as you see in the picture, and she's holding her picture because she just made Student of the Month. Also, as you see all the pink, well, we kicked off breast cancer awareness month here at True Force Taekwondo. Thus seeing me wear the pink, I don't know how well you can see the picture, but I have letters. I support breast cancer awareness. That is true and dear to my heart because I lost my mother to breast cancer. I did lose my father to prostate cancer. So it is truly every year an honor for me to support and to give back to this cause.
Absolutely. And that was one of the reasons you stood out. When I saw the opportunity to have a conversation with you, I wanted to touch on that because I know cancer has touched so many lives. And as I shared with you as we were talking prior to this radio interview, my mom is a 2-time breast cancer survivor. And we've been through some really tough times with her over the years. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer about 8 years ago, and fortunately we caught it early, and I'm cancer-free. But many, many lives have been touched by the issue of cancer. And I think this is something really neat that you are doing that I hope will be an inspiration to other school owners that have an opportunity to listen to this podcast as it's put out, and that they too will take the opportunity to join in and be a part of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, Michael, along those lines, are you working with Susan Coleman, or what organization are you working with in terms of raising awareness? And are y'all doing fundraising? What are y'all doing in that regard this month?
Yes, matter of fact, there's a race here in San Antonio, real big race, 10K, 5K, 10K, that supports. Some of us will be participating in that, along with other events going on throughout the city of San Antonio. And again, here we are through the entire month, not just the first day, not just the first week, but through the entire month, we are committed here at True Force Taekwondo to wearing our pink, doing some event towards bringing awareness and supporting, whether it's financially, whether it's just bringing awareness, and then just the idea of that, hey, we care because it does touch someone, if not everyone, lives.
Absolutely. Yes, it does. And I had to put this picture up because I loved it when it came in. Your stance looks great, but the uniform is just absolutely awesome. And I wanted everybody to have a chance to get a little bit of a look at your school. I know that we had an opportunity just a couple of years ago when you reopened your school. I remember you were at our Hall of Fame event in our IMAC National Training Camp, and they made a unique presentation to you that I think kind of surprised you a little bit. Would you like to maybe share just a little bit about that?
Yes, that was just so special to me, because I had closed down for a while, and you know something inside of me I just was not happy. There was just something that was just missing. I felt that was just missing, and I'm going through my daily life, thinking I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, but still there was just something missing. And what it was I missed teaching. I miss developing lives. And so again, not having a whole bunch of upfront money like most of us, like most people have to open a school, um, I reopened on a shoestring and didn't know how I was going to do it again. But my heart was, this is what you need to be doing again. And, so again, out of courage, I'm going to open. I didn't have a banner. I didn't have a sign. I didn't have equipment because when I closed before, I had given all my equipment away to other students, fellow black belts, so on and so forth. And, Grandmaster Kaufman surprised me along with Grandmaster Johnny Thompson and Grandmaster Roger Rayburn. And as you know, you were there, and they presented me with a banner for my school because I didn't have any signage, no advertisement, nothing. And that was the first piece that I had given to me to reopen my location.
And here you are 2 years later with what looks like a beautiful facility. Man, I am really excited about what you're doing down in Texas. And just absolutely awesome and privileged to have you be a part of our organization.
Yes, it's been
Michael,
an
I want to
honor.
wrap this interview up with just asking you a little bit about your experience as an IMAC member and as an inductee of the Hall of Fame. What has that done for you, and what has your relationship and involvement with IMAC done to help you in your school?
Well, one, it's an honor to be a part of this organization. What I truly love and endear is that is a non-political organization. Your organization that invites martial artists. It didn't say Taekwondo first, didn't say karate first, didn't say wushu first. It said martial artists. So if you're a martial artist and you are a martial artist of integrity, you're welcome in this organization, and that's what I love about it first. And this organization brings honor, and it has honor, and that has just opened the doors for many, and it has given a home for many that are martial artists out there, but they don't have a home. And IMAC gives people a home and gives a chance to cross-train, to grow, to open their eyes and see that there's other styles out there that everyone can benefit from. We may have our foundation system, but it allows us to continue to grow through cross-training. And just for myself alone in my school, it allows me and for other people to see that it's not about just me. My school is not about itself. It is part of a larger family and a connected family, regardless of style or foundation.
Fantastic. Man, I couldn't have said that better myself. That was very good, Michael. Thank you so much for that. As we wrap up, as you're looking forward to 2020, what are your plans for expansion?
My plans are for expansion is to I want to do more outreach. When I say more outreach, I want to connect more to some of the city organizations. I just recently did my annual tournament that I just brought back at the local Boys and Girls Club. And by doing that, I connected with the director, and talking to him, they've had martial arts programs, but they haven't had them in a while, several years. And the Boys and Girls Club is located on a less fortunate side of San Antonio, and gives me an opportunity to reach those kids. I'm already in works with talking to some of the local women shelters here, and just giving back to the community and expanding that way. If I expand commercially, great, but that's not my mission. My mission is to touch others and not just worry about a retail of someone coming through my front door, if that makes any sense at all. So my plans on expansion is to expand more into community outreach.
From a leadership perspective, we refer to that as significance. Everybody wants success and everybody wants their school to grow. And as I've watched your school over the last couple of years, it's grown, and you've done well in that regard. But one of the signs of a true martial arts leader, a true grandmaster, is someone that is willing to go beyond themselves and give of themselves and take the art that's been poured into them and use that as a mechanism to be able to pour into the lives of others. And that's one of the things I appreciate about you, Michael, and about a number of our individuals that are involved with IMAC. We've got a great group of masters and grandmasters that really focus on not just delivering quality martial arts in their school, they're making a positive impact in their community. They're raising awareness to predator safety issues. They're raising awareness to women's safety issues. Many of them are going into nursing homes. They're teaching Tai Chi in assisted living centers. They're doing things that make a difference, like you're doing, going to the Boys and Girls Club and reaching into an area of San Antonio that maybe financially can't afford lessons, but you're having the opportunity to sow into the lives of those young lives and make a difference for them. I applaud you for doing that. So again, as I'm wrapping up here, I'm going to ask you one last question, and then we're going to close this interview out. Michael, if there was one thing that you could have happen in your school next year that you would say, this is what it's all been worth it for, what would that be?
More parents involved so that the children can be in this together with their parents, and families grow together in the arts. That old cliche, a family that kicks together is a family that sticks together. Well, that still rings and holds true today, and that's what I want in 2020.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things, my mentor, John Maxwell, says, people do what people see. And when you've got parents and children training together and other families see that, they see that this is something we can actually do together. And in a society that has become so fractured and so fragmented, and many families today spend their lives buried in their phones or, surfing the internet or streaming video, they fail to connect and they fail to interact and to grow as a family. And training in the martial arts is an amazing way to do that. So I'm looking forward to hearing your success story in the coming weeks and months as you look at trying to bring more families in. So Grandmaster Hornsby, I want to say thank you for taking time to be on this episode of IMAC Radio. Any parting words from you as we get ready to close this out?
Yes, just I want to thank you. I thank you for your vision. I thank you for your dedication to all the martial artists that you touch and helping us grow as leaders in this world, not only in the arts, but as leaders of men in the world. So I just want to personally thank you.
I appreciate that much, very, very, sir. It's an honor to be able to work with some amazing men and women. You know, I was having a conversation with my dad just the other day, and he asked me, he said, John, when you started your first martial arts lesson at the age of 13, did you think you would be today where you are? And I looked at my dad and I said, Dad, I had absolutely no idea that I would be running this amazing organization of men and women and having these great martial artists to call friends and brothers and sisters. So I appreciate you and all of our other members, and I want to say thank you for being on this episode with us. For those of you that have been listening, thank you for joining in. If you'd like to know more about who we are, what we're about, and what we do, you can visit us at imacusa.com. And we look forward to having you on our next IMAC Radio podcast.